Right, spawning here in the bottom left corner on 2000 atmospheres LE. It is Armani. And spawning in the top right corner of the map, we have Time. Looks like we're going to have an exciting Zerg versus Terran on our hands here on 2000 atmospheres LE. Of course, Time and Armani both known for, good macro as well as a bit of unconventional play. Both able to contend with some top GSL players. I'm excited to see what both of them have to offer here. Looks like everything is opening up standard. Armani going for that 16 hatch on the low ground, and Time going for that standard barracks opening. Armani scouting around with both overlords, just making sure that Time is not going for any sort of proxy. And of course, each proxy does have different responses, if I recall correctly. A 2 racks versus a 3 racks require different responses from the Zerg to make sure that you can shut them down efficiently. Alright, barracks is done. We're going to see that first Reaper pop out. Gives Time a bit more flexibility here in the opening. Able to scout around, able to defend against lings, that kind of thing. Rather than going for that marine opening. I believe a marine opening allows you to, save up some gas, get out that factory earlier, but we're not going to see that here tonight. Time also going for the low ground CC as well as the SCV scout. Nothing too out of the ordinary. Now, it will scout that Armani's hatchery just finishes. Can head on straight home as we do see those 2 queens and 4 lings queued up by Armani. Now these lings are already out on the field. The SCV heads back. The Reaper is on the way. I don't think it's going to get too much done as Armani actually does take the cross third. I believe that has been favored by pros recently, pro Zergs, rather than the straightaway third. Now this Reaper is doing some solid damage. Oh, will it? It actually does get 1 ling for its trouble. Going for that drone as well, but the queen pops out just in time to shoo it away. Now, is it going to get the... Nope, it is not going to get that creep tumor. Now, that is always painful for a Zerg. Whenever the creep tumor is also gunned down by the Reaper. It just slows down the creep spread by quite a bit. The queen on the low ground has to save up energy, etc., etc. Now, Time actually going for a very quick third command center before the starport. So this is a very greedy build out of Time. Definitely setting up for a macro game later on. Now, the Reaper did scout the third, which is probably why Time feels compelled to do that. Now, is it... Oh, just barely going back in there for the next creep tumor, but not quite able to get it. Excellent micro from both players. We're seeing a bit of a mini game here in the first few minutes of the game. Now, these 2 Hellions are going to pop out. They're going to give this standing army just a little bit more staying power against the queens and the lings. 2 more Hellions are queued up, and we do see a Banshee on the production tab. Now this Overlord does come in here, and it scouts that that tech lab is not building anything. I think that as soon as the Overlord leaves, then we might see Cloak come up. There we go. So Cloak is queued as this first group comes in here, sees that there's nothing really building at the third. No workers in the mineral line either, so nothing to really snipe for the moment. Now, a layer is coming up. Roachhorn is halfway finished. I believe this could be a safety Roachhorn, or Armani could be looking to get a little bit aggressive here on 2000 atmosphere. We will have to wait and see. But with that first Banshee out, just about to pop, I don't think a Roach timing is in the cards for Armani, as it will end up costing him everything that he owns. Now, we do see 2 more barracks on the production tab, so we're going to see a bio transition here real quick. Now, Armani also going for that quick Overlord speed. Not quick, but just Overlord speed is quick in itself, so he's going to get to scout all of this later down the line. Now, we do see the spores coming up as well, so I don't think that Cloak Banshee is going to get too much done. overall, we just see both players, you know, sort of powering up for the mid game. Now, we actually do see 9 roaches coming out for Armani. And we do see the Lings out on the map. So it looks like Armani could be going for a little bit of aggression. Maybe these roaches are here for safety to just, you know, shut down the Hellions ASAP. Oh, we actually do see Dropper Lords coming out. Now, this is going to be very interesting. We see some queens being loaded up. The Lings are flying around, and they are going to scout and see if there is a third coming up. Now, that third is going to be taken at the triangle location. Now, some Lings do get in, and they only take care of a couple of Marines before the rest of them, as well as the Hellions, come back and clean everything up. Now, we do see queens being marched across the map in that Dropper Lord. We do see Ravagers up on the production tab. These roaches do not have speed, so it's going to be all on the queens and the Ravagers to deal the damage. Not the queens, but also the Lings as well. Now, how is this going to go? Those Hellions, that is too much in the initial push. Now, these queens are going to be dropped right on top. SCVs are pulled off the line, and it doesn't look like the Lings got too much done. Now, the Ravagers in the back dealing their damage. Excellent Dropper Lord micro, making sure that the queens stay alive, but is this going to be enough to break through? Now, we do see the Biles coming down, forcing back the Bile for now. And it looks like this front wall is going to be sacrificed. Banshees are home, and look at that. They are dealing their damage. Marines stem forward, and they take care of the Ravagers lickety-split. It looks like the Queens are going to be taken care of. Yeah. Time takes game number 1. Alright, game number 2. Spawning in the top right corner, we have Armani. And in the bottom left corner, we have Time. Time holding off the Ravager Queen Ling attack by Armani very, very well. Had enough Marines on the low ground just to gun down all of the Lings, and then, of course, the Ravagers were not able to deal their damage before the 2 Banshees came back from the other side of the map and were able to reinforce, cleaning everything up and just handling that defense very, very well. It didn't look like the Ravagers did too much. Now, we do have to remember that 17 SCVs did actually go down during that fight, but Armani had to tap out, knowing that it was not going to be enough damage. That attack, you know, it sort of looks to kill the Terran, and that was definitely not the case. Time, of course, had 3 orbital commands. Third one was just about to land at the cross third location. Armani not gonna be able to sort of macro his way out of that one. Very, very well played by both players. Looks like identical builds from both players. We see that Reaper expand. SCV is just about to put down a natural command center. Hatch gas pool coming up from the Zerg. Looks like we are not going to see any sort of early cheeses here on game number 2 on Jaganatha LE. Again, Armani scouting around almost religiously with the 2 overlords, just making sure that, hey, there is no way that Time is going to proxy me here. At the same time, the Reaper goes across the map, following up with the SCV scout. Now, will this Reaper be able to get a drone kill this time? It did get a Ling, and it got, in spirit, it got 2 creep tumors. Now, it is going to jump up onto the high ground and start doing its damage. Puts down a nade. And wow, the Lings are zoned out of the natural, stuck in the main. This Reaper is going to do some damage on a drone, but the Queen pops out just in time. Yeah, it doesn't look like that Reaper is going to get too much done. Takes another pot shot at the Ling, but not going to do too much. Now, this is interesting. We see Time going for an even earlier command center before the factory even finishes. Time really trying to outgreed the Zerg here. I love it. I think that we don't see too much of that, you know? It's a very interesting build. Alright, now we're going to see 2 Hellions come out of the factory, most likely. There we go. I don't look like a fool. That's good. Now we do see that Tech Lab coming up on the barracks as well. Probably going to follow up with Oh, it looks like it's not going to be a starport. It looks like it's a second barracks. So very interesting build out of time. Delaying that tech in favor of the command center. Going for a very, very quick stim as well. I love this. I think that, you've got the Hellions doing their damage, and then, of course, you follow up with a bunch of a bunch of Marines, excuse me. Now, this Overlord is going to come in here and scout pretty much everything. Wow, I don't think Time is going to be too happy with that. And we do see these two Queens at the front dealing with the Hellions as well. And immediately we see a Baneling Nest and an Evo Chamber go down. So Armani is also gearing up for what is coming. Making sure, hey, I'm going to have Banelings for your stimmed bio. And probably going to try to look to shut it down real quick. Now, of course, Banelings, suicide units, very, very volatile. Not exactly a favored unit of defense because, you've got other options such as roaches and whatnot. Now, roaches, they take a little bit of time to die, they can definitely hold their own. Banelings, however, they do deal very, very significant damage against bio, so it looks like Armani is going to hold down that drone key for just a little bit while longer and then probably go into Lings pretty soon. Now, we do see the two medevacs about halfway done. Once they are done, they're probably going to shuttle all of these Marines across the map, try to deal their damage. Now, it is a bit like a modified 2-1-1. The benefit, of course, being that you get that third orbital out very, very quick. Extremely quick. I love that build, honestly. I think that this is a very, very spicy build. You have the potential of catching your Zerg opponent off guard. Now, this Ling is going to ensure that Armani is not caught off guard. The Ling scouts the two medevacs as they come out of the base location. These almost 16 Marines are going to stem forward. Take care of that Overlord. Scan. Take care of the creep tumors. Queens are going to back up for now as Lings are about to pop out. Alright, now these Lings are coming in here surrounding some of the Marines. Not quite able to find connections because there are no Banelings out on the map, but it looks like, yeah, so far these Marines are not going to be able to do much. Now, oh, that Queen getting very low on health. Able to pull back just in time. Overall, very, very well defended by Armani. Looks like Time is going to do a 1-1 follow-up. Very, very standard. Now, Armani going for that Spire play. Now, we don't see too much Roach... we do not see too much Hydra Ling Bane nowadays. We see a lot of Muta Ling Bane. Mutas, very, very fast, bit of a glass cannon, kind of like Hydras are, but more so of the extreme because you can lose them in an instant. Now, if you do control them properly, they can deal massive amounts of damage both across the map and even to the parade push of Terran on the Zerg side of the map, right? If you're able to catch these tanks out of position, then that is about it for them. Now, these four Banelings, I don't think they're going to do too much time with the excellent wall of supply depots, able to zone out the Banelings. And we do see that single Evo chamber paying off, finishing +1 Carapace before this attack is going to come out. So Armani also able to make sure that he has a counterattack going, hitting the natural as soon as these stemmed bio units come across the map. Now, is it going to be enough to break the Zerg? I am not too sure, as the Zergling units are actually getting significant damage across the map. 10 SCVs going down as these frontline assault units take care of that fourth base. Now, Armani also going for another fourth base at the cross location as well. Able to bide his time and, make sure that he is able to handle it no problem. But, yeah, it doesn't look like... Okay, now we do see the first wave of Zerglings coming out. Oh, actually, we do see this counterattack growing with some Banelings joining the mix as well. Getting through that wall. 7 Mutalisks are about to pop. Looks like we are going to see some upgrades popping as well for our Zerg. As soon as these upgrades pop, I think Armani's going to feel comfortable enough to break this position. But no, it looks like he doesn't need to, as he is comfortable enough to break it on its own already. Now, these Banelings are not finding the best connections as the held bat in front, as well as some of those Marines. They are able to survive, but it is not going to be enough to sustain the push. Time backs up, and he regroups as the Zerg also continues to sort of poke around, trying to spread out the creep once again, scouting with the mutalisks, but this Terran army is coming back. Now we do see a tank reinforcing, we do see the pre-splits. Is it going to be enough to break the second fourth in this case? I am not too sure. We do see the queens up in the front line taking damage. Good transfuses, making sure that they're staying alive, but oh, the banelings in front. Okay, one connection, not too good, actually popped by the siege tank in the back. Excellent, excellent pre-splits. Now we do see these lings going across the map again, going for another counterattack. This is very, very good play by Armani, able to make sure that he can, all at the same time, bide his time at his side of the map, not dying, you know, making sure that the banelings are active, but at the same time, counterattacking across the map, making sure that he can deal some sort of economic damage, making sure that this push feels more like an all-in. Now, 4 SCVs is not too much. These mutas do come in, taking down a tank, but this is not going to be enough. Now, not enough lings and banes are in the front. We do see very poor creep spread in this area, so it's not going to be enough to actually take care of this push. The drones are actually evacuated for the second time, and it looks like Armani is starting to slip. I don't think that Armani will have enough to actually hold on here. Now, his counterattacks are doing good damage, you know, taking down 5 SCVs at a time, but you need something to deal with these frontline Marines. If you don't deal with these frontline Marines, you literally die, you know? You can counterattack all day long, but, ooh, excellent connections coming down, but I don't think it's going to be enough again. Banes are all used up. Lings and mutas and queens have to pull back again. Time knows when time is up, and he will regroup once again. Now, these banelings coming in here for a more spontaneous sort of bust, but it is not going to be enough as they are not able to find the connections on the SCVs. The Marines are going to catch some lings out of position off of creep as well. Again, you need to be ahead of supply as the Zerg, and when you're not ahead of supply, the trades, of course, going in favor of the Terran with proper micro, they will not be in favor of Armani for this game. Now, this main force of lings and mutas do come across the map, dealing significant damage, but again, it's the same problem that Armani has been facing throughout this game on Jagannatha LE. He does not have enough to deal with the main army. He has enough to counterattack and, yes, kill an entire drone, an entire mineral line, but these queens in front are not going to be able to defend all of these Marines by themselves. Time feeling comfortable enough to siege up on the high ground as well. Look at that. The Brains have to pull back. Drones are starting to fall as well. These lings are finally pulled back from the back line. The mutas as well. Is it going to be enough to deal with the mutas to clean it up? Oh, it might be just barely enough to clean it up, and these medevacs have to pick up and get on out of there. So all of a sudden, time taking unfavorable trades on both fronts, both at home as well as across the map, and wow, I was not expecting this. These Banes are going to come through and clean up. GG is called. Armani ties up the series 1-1.